morning, world. Good morning, good morning, good morning. It's up your o'clock, and welcome to today's episode on Up You with Ezinne. How are you all doing? Today is a wonderful day. It's a beautiful one. We're diving into a deeply inspiring story about turning adversity into advocacy. Yes, you heard me right. We're turning adversity into advocacy. Our focus is on how personal tragedy can inspire a lifelong commitment to helping the underprivileged. This is a powerful conversation about resilience, empathy, and the drive to make a difference in the world. Yes. My name is Ezinne Kufurekane, and I'm your host. And as always, I'm here to uplift and empower. Joining me today, all the way from Ghana, is Mr. Rockson. But hold on, you'll get to see him and meet him just in a moment. So, as always, I am very thrilled to have you on this show today. Please stay with us as we explore turning adversity into advocacy, how personal tragedy inspired a lifelong commitment to helping the underprivileged. Yes, I told you before, it's not every adversity that comes to kill you. Some come to introduce you to yourself. We are live on YouTube and Instagram, so don't go anywhere. Don't forget to follow us at UpU with Ezinne and on all other platforms to keep this conversation going long after the show is over. Be sure to like and share the link so that we can spread this important message far and wide. Settle in, settle in, settle in, everyone. Today, our guest is Mr. Rockson. He is a dedicated humanitarian and advocate for the underprivileged. His life took a significant turn during an inter-ethnic conflict that exposed him to profound hardship. Instead of being defeated by adversity, he transformed his pain into purpose, founding multiple initiatives that provide education, healthcare, and essential resources to marginalized communities. Mr. Rockson is very, very interesting. His personal experiences during the inter-ethnic conflict in his region in faraway Ghana shaped his journey into advocacy. His dedication to helping the underprivileged, despite facing adversity himself, will inspire you to see challenges as opportunities and make a difference in your own corner of the world. Good morning, Mr. Rockson. It's good to have you on the show today. How are you doing?
Good morning, Ezinne. I'm happy to be here with you. I'm glad to finally be able to make it up today. I'm doing very great. Hope you are fine too.
I am very well. And yes, it's good to say finally because we've been at days arranging to be able to have this conversation. So I'm happy it's finally happening. Thank you,
Yes.
thank you, thank you. Now let's begin, please. Could you start by
Okay.
sharing your personal journey? I know you can't share all of it, but share a bit of it. Tell us, how did the inter-ethnic conflict impact your life? And what led you to turn adversity into a commitment to helping others?
Great. Thank you very much, Ezinne. I grew up in the northern part of Ghana,
Mhm.
the northern part of the Volta Region of Ghana. It's about 400 kilometers away from Accra, the capital city of Ghana. So the area is quite a very poor environment, very poor area, where poverty is quite endemic. But that is not the biggest problem. At the time, the biggest challenge was that at every small opportunity, the people get into conflict. They wanted to rather use cutlasses and guns and weapons to resolve simple conflicts, simple issues, instead of sitting down to talk about the issues. So, especially between the years 1993 to 1995, the conflict was particularly severe in the area where I was, the northern part of Volta. That conflict led to the death of thousands of people, and almost 160,000 people got displaced internally. Unfortunately, I happened to be caught up in the conflict. At the time, I was just about 14 years or so, and I was in what we call JSS in our system, Junior Secondary School, Form 2. My tribe was not part of the tribes involved in the conflict. It was between two different tribes. I was an Ewe. My tribe was not part of it. But the challenge I had was that I had a tribal mark on my cheeks. Now I've grown a bit big, so you may not be able to see it so clearly. But I had
Hmm.
tribal marks on my cheeks that were given me when I was a baby. And one of the tribes involved in the conflict, they usually have those tribal marks on their cheeks. So once the majority ethnic group members see you, they will of course see the tribal mark first. So they think that you are their enemy or their opponent, even before they get to speak to you.
Mm.
So I got into a situation where I was always constantly under attack. My school was attacked a couple of times in an attempt to kill me and other people. Some of my colleagues were killed. Some teachers were also killed. And I eventually had to escape from the school to go onto an island where they could not swim to come there. We had to eventually stay in the forest. For the first 14 days, we were just hiding in the forest. And all that time, the only thing I had on me was my school uniform because we were in school when the school was attacked and we had to run. We had to jump over dead bodies that people that were killed in the town. We had to run, jump over them, get into a canoe, and then onto the island. So that's basically how it started. It was a very troublesome situation. And I wasn't even part of the ethnic groups involved. I wasn't a combatant. I was just a victim of circumstances. So it was actually sad, but that's a summary of my story.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Your story is incredibly moving. For one so young. Oh, my goodness. So many people go through hardship, but not as young as you were. I was just imagining jumping over the dead bodies and everything, and all the crime that we know that you committed is because you have some mark on your cheek. Oh, wow. Ah, Mr. Roxon, I'm so sorry you had to live through that at a very young age. Um, and it's also
Thank you.
incredible that you didn't let that make you get bitter. You know, most people who go through this kind of things do not emerge with the desire to help others. So you're actually a very incredible person. What was the turning point for you? At what point did you decide that this experience that you had to go through, that you're going to turn it for good and use it for others? When did you realize you wanted to advocate for the underprivileged?
Okay, so after 14 days in the on the island on the bush, I eventually got into a refugee camp where refugees were kept, and I was there for a number of days. And throughout all that time, I did not have anything. So every morning we had to go and form a queue where you could people could come and give you dresses to wear. Sometimes they give you little food with cups to be able to eat to survive at the camp. I had no books, nothing, virtually nothing at all on me. So I had two options available at the time: either to give up and say, "Well, this is the end of my life. I will not be able to do it any longer," or to persist. But I chose to fight on. And I knew the only way to fight on and to survive was to be able to face the fear that I had and not break down. So I used the opportunity that I could to study very hard despite all the situations, because eventually I found myself in my hometown very far away. And then there was no electricity in the town at the time. There were no teachers in the schools. In fact, the school that was supposed to have about 14 teachers only had two at the time, and we had to still prepare and go and write the final exams. I had to find ways of coping with the situation. So I had to get other who were in other communities very far away, sometimes buy one exercise book. Then I go to them and copy their notes over the weekend. So I spend the whole weekend copying. Sometimes I don't even have transport to go to the place. So I have to go work for people on their farms, get some money, and then I'll travel to the other cities where they were a bit resourced, copy their notes literally in the exercise books. Then I'll come back and read those notes. So with all those experiences, with my personal experience, I realized that it means a lot to do something little for somebody. So I decided that once I get opportunity, I will use the little I have to help people so that they will not be able to go through those circumstances all over again. So nobody inspired me. I didn't have any mentors at the time. So I had to be my own mentor. So I have chosen now to be a mentor for other people who were going through similar difficulties to assist them, no matter how little it is. It may mean the world to somebody who needs it. So I
True.
decided that I was going to turn my situation around and use the chance to help those who really need it.
True. You are just an embodiment of the fact that experience is a good teacher. You experienced it, and because you experienced it, you're able to understand the pain that others might be going through. So tell us, yeah, what were some of the challenges you experienced when you were starting out, in your humanitarian work, and how did you overcome them?
Well, one of the major challenges I encountered was funding, because almost everything that you have to do needed some money. Even if you have to go and talk to people, you need transport to move from one place to the other. So I decided that I was going to start from where I could start from, to schools around to inspire the people. After the final examination I spoke about earlier, I did so well. I excelled so well, but because there was no money, I couldn't go to the secondary school. So I had to go back to the conflict zone where I left to go and work for 1 year to raise money to be able to get admission to the secondary school. So at every opportunity, I try to use this story to inspire people, to tell them that, well, it is possible. So far as you keep trying, you can do it. So at the time, I didn't need a lot of funding. I just needed to be able to there with my voice, be able to be there with my story to inspire them. So it was a bit challenging, but I did the best I could under the circumstances to inspire a lot of people, to tell them that they can make it no matter the challenges that they encounter as they grow up.
So, um, you started your advocacy work, your humanitarian work, even before you got into secondary school.
Yes, I did. Yes, I did. I believe firmly that not all of us can do great things today, but all of us can do small things in a great way. So even though
Hmm.
we will not have the chance to do the fantastic things we dream about, the little way that you can, you start doing the small, small things, but do them in a great way. So I decided early that I was going to start right from where I could with the resources that I had. I could start doing. So I started doing that. And life didn't really get better. It was even tougher. But I also chose that I was going to use the resources that I could to help people. So I actually wrote a book, a mathematics book called Senior Man's Diary. It's quite a popular book in Ghana, Senior Man's Diary. And I sold those books from school to school. I raised money from the book and I used that to support the humanitarian work that I was doing. So the school was a mathematics book for junior high schools. So once I go around, I sell the books and people like the book because I made mathematics so simple at the time. So I use the proceeds from the book to support the humanitarian efforts, to go to schools, to go to communities, and to tell them that despite the adversities that you go through, you can still make it. And that is how I funded it initially.
Okay, this is really very interesting. So, I like that quote. You said, not all of us can do great things, but all of us can do small things in a great way. That is really phenomenal. And we really all need to start from where we are at. So, you have a desire to see something change or to make a change in the world. You don't have to wait. Because when you're waiting for all things to be equal, the opportunities may just be slipping by. So, you cut it and you started going from school to school. I'm just imagining you as a young boy trekking from one nearby school to another nearby school just to spread your message. And the moment you could, you wrote a book, and then you started selling the book and getting money. But it looks like that is our beginning. How long have you been in advocacy? How many years now, sir?
I've been doing advocacy work for about 25 years. 25 years.
25
I've
years.
been doing that for the
So,
past 25
as we're
years.
sharing this story now, it looks
Yes.
like, oh my God, I am very certain that at that point, 25 years ago, you didn't see today. Or maybe you saw today and you were walking towards today. And maybe where we are today is not where we're going to be in the next 25 years. You know, By the next 25 years, we would have taken the global stage firmly. The world would have heard about you, about your organization, and everything that you're doing. I'm actually very excited for you, honestly. And I'm excited for all of the people that you've impacted. Because if you're making me this excited, I can imagine when you're actually talking to all these people, the kind of hope and positivity that you put inside of them. Well done, well done, well done. So tell me, how have you managed to
Thank you
balance
so much.
your
You know,
own?
we have to start from somewhere.
What did you say,
Yeah,
please?
yeah, please proceed. Yes, I'm saying that we have to be willing to start from somewhere. We don't have to wait for big opportunities to come, because by the time the big opportunity comes, people would have lost their lives, people would have lost hope. So all of us should start from today, start from wherever you are. If you can inspire a school child in your area, if you can inspire somebody who is selling, anybody that you can give hope to today, don't wait for the big opportunities to come, because by then it will have been too late for the person. So let us start from today. And then, as you rightly said, in 25 years' time, big opportunities will be back, and would have gained the experience that we need, and would have had a track record that we need to be able to keep inspiring people.
Yes, start today. Start from where you are. Start with what you have. Just start so that we don't lose another person we don't have to lose. Brilliant submission there.
Exactly.
So tell me, how have you been able to manage your own trauma? Because I want to believe that what you went through, left some mark, something with you, you know. Um, the way they say it in the medical parlance, they will say you left some deficits. There's some things that you to yourself are dealing with.
Yeah.
So how, when you now find people in a similar position, because those are the people you sent yourself back to, you know, does it not make you remember all over again? How are you reliving it? Is it not painful to you?
Yes, yeah, right. Isn't it? It's very painful. My trauma was real. I went to the story. It was not like something I read from a book. It was real, something that you can never forget. I recall the many times that the school was attacked because of an effort to kill me and other colleagues like that. I remember the number of days you have to spend in the forest, various forests that you couldn't even remember whether you have to eat or not. I remember the number of times that sometimes you're in a car and the car is ambushed, they block the road and search inside the car, just look for people to kill, where you have to hide under car seats to avoid being caught and all of that. Where you have to move from one place to the other, you have to plan several routes to avoid being ambushed and killed. Meanwhile, you are not a combatant in the conflict. So it's a very difficult situation, and especially when I had to go back there to go and work for 1 year just to raise money to come back to continue my education. It makes you remember everything over and over again. It's not easy. But you see, when you go to adversity, it can define you. The adversity will rather make you stronger or make you weaker. So my encouragement to all those I speak to is that when you go through frustrations in life, don't give up. Because once you keep
Mm.
fighting your fears and keep working, by the help of God, you would make adversity can be a stepping stone. So I choose that no matter the adversity that I go through, I encourage people that use it as a stepping stone. Don't let it be a stumbling block to prevent you from making progress. Find situations within the adversity where you can make some progress, where you can inspire other people. And so long as you have life, there is hope. You can always make it tomorrow. So don't give up because of what you're going through today. Just have the assurance that that adversity can be turned into a stepping stone for you, and you can by all means make it by the grace of God.
Oh, wow. Adversity can be a stepping stone. It depends on how we internalize it, how we absorb it. This is really, I like the nuggets. It's almost as if you're talking to me, and saying to me, don't give up. Don't give up. Well, you've done this for 25 years, so you're a natural encourager. That's what I can say. Okay. So tell us, are you married?
Thank you. Yes, I'm married. Married with three children.
And you have children?
Yes, I have three of them, a boy and two girls.
Okay, congratulations. What does your wife think about your line of job?
Well, she's inspired by it too, because a lot of times I've traveled with her from Accra. several kilometers to the place to just
Mhm.
go back and show the children where I grew up, how life was at the time. Now the road to
Mhm.
the place is quite good. You can drive there in 7 hours. But
Oh
years
wow.
back, it will take you 3 days to get to that place. Yes, but now you can get there after driving for 7 hours. You'll be able to get to the place. I've taken my wife and children to the school several times to show them the school I attended, to show them the signboard to the school, and to take pictures. So a lot of time you see my children repeating the story and trying to
Oh
relive it. So they
wow.
understand that you need to impact people, and they understand that it is important that when you are waiting, when you are going for adversity, you have to do something. You cannot just wait and throw your hands in the air and say that I'm in trouble, so that's the end of the world. But you keep doing something whilst you are waiting. You see, in my case, whilst I was waiting, I went to work hard to be able to go back to school. I wrote a book. I used to teach mathematics just to be able to survive. I did everything I could to be able to help people. I used to help people in their corn farm just to raise some corn and then to be able to survive. Other people in the circumstance that have given up say, well, I'm going to kill myself. I'm going to get into criminal activities. I'm going to be able to rob people. But that is a wrong way to see your adversity. Use the period that you are going to adversity to add some value to yourself. Be able to learn hard. What if I had failed my exams? There was nobody to give money to get and write a receipt of papers. So I knew that I had to use the strength that adversity gives me to be able to study, to be able to make an impact. That's the only way I could change my life. But if I choose to give up, nobody was going to live the life for me. So I inspire my family to have the same commitment. And I teach my children that today, by the grace of God, you can eat whenever you want to eat. But not everybody gets the opportunity. And so learn not to look down on anybody. So you see somebody drinking dirty water or somebody wearing a torn school uniform, don't laugh at the person because anybody can become a victim of circumstances. Anybody's life can change suddenly. It can be to anybody, anywhere, at any time. If you go to our prisons today, there are a lot of innocent people who happen to be at the wrong place at the wrong time and they're in prison because of that. I was just caught up in a conflict, not because I was fighting over land or property or anything, just because of a tribal mark on my cheeks that I didn't even do in the first place. So I teach my children and my family to respect people, to support the underprivileged when they can. And by all means, God will bless that effort, and then you can make a life for yourself later. So when you're going for adversity, please be careful what you do with that time. Use it to develop yourself, add some value to yourself, and ensure that you use that as a stepping stone instead of a stumbling block.
Brilliant. You know, we just concluded our annual women conference, and the theme this year, as you can see from the banner behind me, was Through the Fire, Triumphing in Adversity. And one of the things that we established at that conference was that adversity is no respecter of persons. You know, it can happen to you at any point in time. It is no respecter of persons. And so you're correct. And I particularly like the fact that you are making sure that people in your circle, especially your family, understand your job. Please tell me, or tell all of us, what role does empathy play in advocating for underprivileged communities? Especially when you've been through similar situation, what role does empathy play?
Okay. The literature defines empathy as putting yourself in other people's shoes. So
Mhm.
just ask yourself, if I were the one in this situation, how would I have felt? Okay, a lot of us tend to take things for granted because we see electricity, we see food to eat, and you can get the basic things of life. But not everybody has the opportunity. So ask yourself, how would it be for me if the whole day I have to eat only once in a day? If I have to wear my school uniform for 14 days, okay, it's not pleasant. If I have to sleep in the bush, sleep in the forest, if I have to be there for days without sleep, how will I feel? So you ask yourself how the other person will feel. So it helps you to understand. If you see people walking long distances to school, it should motivate you to be able to help them. Sometimes you will not see the value of one exercise book, but I know the value of one exercise book because those days there were no photocopies. So when I'm going to lay hold on somebody's textbook, with one exercise book, I spend the whole weekend copying their notes from various subjects And then when I go back the following week, I read those notes. So one exercise book may not mean anything for you, but having been through the route I have been through, one exercise book made a lot of difference. So getting one child a uniform, getting him a sandals to school, getting him pens and stationery will make a lot of difference in the situation. So we need to remember that there are a lot of ordinary people going through extraordinary hardship every day. Ordinary people are going through a lot of extraordinary hardship that they are enduring. So every time you see them, empathize with them, put yourself in their shoes. Okay, remember that I wasn't a combatant before I was caught up in a conflict. These are all people who sometimes may be victims of circumstances that they did not cause. So if you can help anybody to make a difference in their life today, you should do it because you never know what tomorrow will bring to you or to that person. I always tell the people around me that you see people today, you see me today, you think I'm comfortable. I'm not comfortable. I'm still working hard to make a better life. So I always see people see you and they say, "Oh, you look fine. You have made a lot of progress." And I tell them, if you see the glory, ask about the story because behind every glory that you see, there is a story. It did not just happen suddenly. You have to go through a lot of stories in order to get to that glory that you're working for. So as people work hard, as people go through their story today, if you have empathy, you can become the support that they need to be able to get to their glory as well. So any opportunity at all that you can use to help somebody, please do it. Okay? Because I struggle to use one exercise book. And that one exercise book may not mean anything to you, but it will mean the world to somebody who really needs it. So empathy is an important quality that all of us need to develop. And like I said repeatedly, you don't need to do it big today. Just start small and do it one day at a time. And keep supporting those that you can support. And to you, it may not mean anything. It may not mean anything. But that person who is in trouble, your help will mean the whole world to him. It will mean the whole world to the person. That's your little support. It may be little to you, but it will make a big difference in somebody's life. So any opportunity at all that you have to support an underprivileged person, please do it. And you see, we have a lot of underprivileged people around us. Sometimes when you work, there'll be somebody there who is paid much less than you are paid. There'll be somebody there who is a cleaner, maybe a security person. There'll be somebody who is hawking, selling on the street. Any opportunity you have to help somebody who is less privileged than you have to do it. And it will inspire the person to be able to do something greater for himself in the future.
Whoa, I'm carried away by what you're saying because sometimes people like us that have human empathy, we attempt to have the Messiah syndrome. We want to save the whole world, we want to make life easy for everyone. And it's actually very, very endearing to hear you saying the same thing. The truth is, for that child who needs just one exercise book, that's all the world. That's all the world to him. Maybe your own need is something else bigger than an exercise book, but that exercise book is what means a lot to that child. So Mr. Roxon, tell me, in the communities that you advocate for, what's the this is just a rough stats that I'm asking for. The ratio boys to girls or men to women. What's the ratio? You have more women or more men? More boys or more girls?
The, there are more girls, there are more boys than girls, because in the area where I do most of my work, girls don't go to school much. Girls don't go to school much. So that they tend to support the boys to go to school while they leave the girls to just be at home doing household chores and all of that. So a lot of girls don't go to school. So you will see that out of the initiative that I've done, I do a lot of work in the schools to inspire everybody to be able to improve and to be able to make a better life for themselves. But I have a special project that I've been running for some time now, and it is under the theme, Can a Girl From Here Make It? Can a girl from here make it? And the purpose of that is to inspire, especially the girls, that no matter where you come from, you can make it. And I've interacted with a lot of the young girls in schools. And then I asked them, what do you want to do in future? They said, oh, I want to be a journalist. And I asked them, why do you want to be a journalist? They said, well, when I see in our area, a lot of those who read the news are ladies. They tell you that when I see the women reading the news, it's so nice for me. I like it. I admire them. And I tell them that you can be a journalist too. You can actually do it. And some of them are actually being inspired and they are making progress towards that. And I keep telling them that, look, you can become greater than that journalist you see on the TV presenting the news. You can really do much more than that. And I think that is what we need to do. We need to encourage young people to
You will one day come out of that adversity, and then you will look back, and then you'll be glad on the trajectory that you took. Let me go and look for Mr. Rockson. Give me a moment. Give me a moment, but do stay with me. Don't go anywhere. Keep, yeah, give your comments in the stream, and so that we can talk about it when he comes back. One moment while I buzz him. Okay, so everyone on the stream, tell me, give me your own contributions, give me your thoughts while we're waiting for him. What do you think about all of this conversation of a young man who has done what? Who has started 25 years ago to advocate for the less privileged. Let me read his profile fully now while we wait for him to come back. So, Roxon Af- Afetsrom is a banker, a consultant, and humanitarian dedicated to improving the lives of vulnerable and marginalized persons in communities. He's particularly focused on promoting access to education, healthcare, and sustainable development in underserved regions across Ghana. Roxon's passion for helping less privileged people stems from his personal experiences and misfortune as an underprivileged schoolboy in JSS 2 in the year 1993. Roxon became a victim of the inter-ethnic conflict that ravaged communities, where his school was located in the northern part of the Volta region of Ghana. Even though he doesn't belong to any of the ethnic tribes involved in the conflict, Roxon was a target of attack during the conflict because of a tribal mark on his cheeks, which is common among the minority ethnic group in the town where his school was located. After some students and teachers were killed in his school for the same reason, Roxon managed to escape to an island and later to a refugee camp, and the rest, like they say, is history. And today he's having a conversation with me about all of this. He therefore made a personal commitment to assist underprivileged children, people, and victims of circumstances using any opportunity and resources he has. Known for his advocacy work, Roxon engages in grassroots initiatives that empower individuals through capacity building, vocational training, and awareness campaigns. Roxon also actively collaborates with international NGOs, local governments, and community leaders to ensure that basic support reaches communities which are underprivileged and inspires young people to persevere despite adversities. Yes, as you could see before he went off, he was telling us how he was able to, or how he's been able to, over a 25-year period, motivate, inspire, and get young people to go through life. Okay? By showing them how to turn stumbling blocks into stepping stones. Roxon was a project manager for the International Labour Organization to eliminate children in the worst forms of child labor, program that saved over 200 children who were involved in the worst forms of child labor and ensured their education and reintegration into the society from 2006 to 2010. It was this project that I wanted him to expatiate on so that we will know how he was able to get these young persons who were put into child labor and get them off the labor market and then get them back into school and into the society mainstream. So all of that is what I wanted him to talk to us about. I am hoping that he will be able to make it back in before our time is up. Yeah, I'll continue to read more about him so that you can get to know him a little bit more. Then, of course, um, He was also the project manager on various World Health Organization community programs on mother to child, HIV transmission, malaria and tuberculosis prevention awareness campaign across Ghana from 2010 to 2016. In addition to his field work, Roxon is a strong advocate for policy change, often participating in forums that address systemic issues like poverty, gender inequality, and climate change. He is an enthusiast of SDGs 1, 4, 10, and 17, and a strong believer that quality education and training can and will change the world for future generations. Over the past 10 years, Roxon has dedicated his time to teaching and training young people in deprived communities in Ghana at his own cost and absolutely free to the participants. That is incredible. At his own cost and absolutely free to the participants. Indeed, not all of us can do great things, but we can do small things with great love. He said that earlier. I'm just repeating what he said. So he personally sponsored the roadshow to some deprived areas to inspire young girls under a program he calls Can a Girl From Here Make It? Using his own inspirational story and with the support of mentors who are willing to inspire less privilege from 2021 to date. He's been on that program asking the same questions of the girls that he mentors. Can a girl from here make it? Can a girl from here make it? His other projects include free coaching and mentoring for young graduates to have more skills beyond their certificates, and also for pensioners across Ghana. His desire is to help equip the next generation. It is not about giving bread to orphans. It's about building a bakery that can feed an orphanage and sell bread in the city. I'm going to say that again. It is not about giving bread to orphans. It's about building a bakery that can feed an orphanage and sell bread in the city. His holistic approach to humanitarian His holistic approach to humanitarianism seeks not just to alleviate immediate suffering, but to build long-term solutions that uplift entire communities in an effort to create a better future for all. Robson believes that we make a living by what we get, but we make a life by what we give. We make a living by what we give. And he's just sent me a message now that this too that is happening on this program is part of adversity and that we will make it. So we're going to wait for him to come back while we try to ponder on some of the nuggets that I have read to you. Okay? What do you understand by this nugget that he shared with us, which says that living, we make a living by what we make a living by what we get, but we make a life by what we give. So when you go to work, whatever you get helps you to make a living. But when you give, when you invest, when you pour into another, now that is making a life. That is making a life. Mr. Rockson will certainly be remembered all over Ghana and all over the world for what he gave. He's in Nigeria today, still giving, still giving. What about you? What are you doing with that adversity that you surmounted? Yes, that one that didn't kill you, that one that came and refined you and modified the way you think.